Quess Corp Limited is an Indian company. You can see the logo of this company on the upper left corner of the screen, uh, known as Winning Together, seems to be their logo. And it's an Indian company, and it's India's largest among the top five global providers of staffing and workforce solutions. Global providers, top five, and the largest in India. But what is this? Workforce and staffing solutions. What do these mean? So basically, let's say you're a business and you need some staff, you need some workers, let's say temporarily, let's say for one season, for a few months. So you can calculate, no, you can contact Quest Corp and they can help you with that. Uh, you need workers for a very specific niche, workers with a very specific skill set. You can contact Quest Corp and they will help you with that. That is staffing, help you find staff, maybe temporary, maybe permanent, etc. Then workforce. Okay, we already talked about staffing. What is workforce solution? So solutions like tracking the employee's performance, taking care of payroll, HR services like human resource services, uh, all that stuff. So anything related to the workforce, any solutions, any problem you have with your own employees and all that, managing your own employees, making sure they are more efficient, making sure they're coming to work, all of that. You have any problem and you need solutions regarding to any problem with your workforce, you can contact Quest Corp and more often than not, they can help you, I guess. So that is the basic thing of Quest Corp, workforce and staffing solutions. This, first of all, is their annual report. And here's a highlight. I've highlighted a paragraph. Okay. Their aim is to be the world's largest staffing company by headcount by 2030. So, by headcount or by total number of employees working for them, they want to be the largest in the world. India is the home market, but they say the future is global. They've already established in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and in the Middle East. So, they're already global, where they have built their overseas bases, serving as a launchpad for even further global expansion. Then, there's a strong net cash position. Now, what is net cash? From what I understand, right? Now, net cash and net debt, both is the same thing. Total debt minus cash and cash equivalents. So, net cash position means that there's more cash. So, positive net cash position means you have more cash and cash equivalents than you have debt. So, on the balance sheet wise, this company now has very little debt. So, with a strong net cash position, they're actively exploring strategic entry into US, Europe, and Japan markets through calibrated acquisitions. So, it's already not a very small company. It's nice. It's a nice size of a company, already global. Already saw we read Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and Middle East, and it's looking for future global expansion into other countries. Now, to give an overview, we covered what they actually do. And now we can have more information on what they do, further information you can say. So one of the largest private sector employers in the entire country, 4,59,000 active associates. Now, what does this mean, active associates? Basically, you are a company, you need employees. So for you, Quest Corp will hire employees for you. Technically, they work under Quest Corp, but they're working for you. They're working on what you are doing. So 459,000 associates since their IPO, they have generated or have 2.5 million jobs they've added, 1 million first-time workers. And in this year, fiscal year 2024, 2025, they added 1 lakh 33,000 workers. Then they also have 75,000 gig workers, 700 recruiters, and I think last is 5,500 associates have been deployed across 7 countries internationally, and 35% of clients have 5 plus tenures or they have contracts. They're contracted with Quest Corp for over 5 years. 35% of clients, very nice. So long term stable revenues from these clients. Moving on, we have something else. Okay, now the business segments. The main thing is always workforce solutions, staffing solutions, but this company has divided them into four segments: general staffing, professional staffing, overseas staffing, and digital platforms. So, first, we have general staffing. This is the main thing. The most amount of the revenue, the biggest percentage of the revenue comes from general staffing. This is a large revenue, but a low, very low margin business. So we can read here. I hope we can all read. I barely can. General staffing is the core of Quess's business. It serves India's rapidly formalizing blue and grey collar force. So not white collar force, blue and the grey collar workforce across sectors such as retail, logistics, manufacturing, healthcare, and BFSI. BFSI is banking, financial sector, and insurance. BFSI. So revenue, uh, 1,000. Okay, wait, 1,29,946 million rupees. You can convert that into crores. 1,336 million rupees is the operating EBITDA. You can see 1.4% stable margins, EBITDA margins. So very, very low margin segment. This headcount is 447,000 is the total headcount. And we already saw the total headcount was like 452,000, somewhere around that number. So 97% of Quest Corp's whole associate base comes in general staffing. They have a pan-India reach, 6,300 towns and cities, and 70% of workforce is from tier 2, tier 3 cities. Then staffing plus, they add value added services along with the staffing. So staffing is first, they provide staff, then other services they provide, such as digital tools to optimize workforce productivity and reduce attrition. Attrition is basically workers leaving. Then we already covered pan-India reach. Of course, artificial intelligence. That's in every other annual report ever. AI-led sourcing mechanisms. Okay, cloud-based payrolling platform. Again, payrolling. You need to pay employees, and payrolling can become a bit complicated. So this can make things easier. Now, this is important. Collect and pay model. A collect and pay model. So instead, Quest for paying these associates, right? What it does, it collects money from the companies, then pays the associates. So it collects money from the companies and then pay. That's why it's called a collect and pay model. So they don't have receivables. They don't have to give these staffs to the companies on credit, thereby increasing receivables and decreasing cash. Like this, okay? If you don't understand, like what does it mean, decreasing cash? Cash flows are very important for business, real cash flows. And what happens many times in business, you're giving out a product to customers, you give them on credit. Credit meaning you allow them to pay after 30 to 60 days. So instead of that happening, like if you give out more on credit, let's say 60 days or 90 days, meaning the longer it takes for you to actually get cash from the customers. Here it's different. They get cash first and then they can pay to the employees. They don't have to pay the employees first. That will be a huge drain on the resources. So this ensures the collect and pay model for general staffing only, ensures upfront cash collection and drives superior cash generation and working capital efficiency in large scale deployments. Again, this is the revenue driver, and the larger percentage of the revenue comes, it helps in upfront cash collection, cash generation. So, better cash flows will come from this, what is called general staffing. Then, second, we have professional staffing. Professional staffing is on, again, white collar and specialist roles across domains like IT, engineering, BFSI again, and life sciences. So specialist roles, white collar jobs. Now there's a very one important thing here. So one very important thing here. Global capacity centers. This is the main drive. professional staffing, and for the whole of Quest Corp, global capacity centers, capability centers, global capability centers are a massive focus for them to improve their profitability and growth, mostly profitability. These are high margin stuffs. The global capability centers, name suggests these are global, these are centers and capable. So capable of handling specialized tasks, very important tasks. You are a company, you may need to do some very complicated stuff which requires some, let's say, highly skilled workers. So at these centers, for your particular need, for your particular work, global capability centers will have these people, will have the solutions for you. And that's why they're so important. Basically, there are places where there are a lot of workers, but very important. This comes under the professional staffing vertical or professional staffing segment. So, revenue 8,254 million rupees. You can already see general staffing was like 125,000. This is way smaller, but the operating EBITDA 772 million. You can see 9.2%. It's a better business in terms of margins for Quest Corp. Here we can see the capability engine. This generates a lot and lots of pure profit for them. Is the profit generator, you can say. Along with one more thing, but we will look into that. 6,000 headcount, extremely small. What was that? General staffing was 4 lakh. This is 6,000. And over 1,300 new mandates, new people coming in, new workforce. 1,300. You can consider this as a additional workforce being added to 6,000. GCC's global cable centers contributed 70% of revenue. Okay, 70% of revenue for professional staffing only. Again, this is niche. This provides niche technical talent, uh, specialist roles, white collars. Here you can see traction, emerging areas such as data science, cybersecurity, AI, and machine learning. Then GCCs, Global Capability Centers as a service in India. They are introducing Origin. So they already provide GCCs as a service, but they're just making it a bit separate a bit separate. So we can focus on this a little more and a lot of statements you can read. Moving on, we have third thing, overseas staffing. The expansion engine, expansion, I believe they mean is global expansion. Again, overseas. So Singapore, Malaysia, all these regions. And they're looking to expand even more. All right, with a presence in 7 countries, this segment serves sectors like infrastructure, healthcare, logistics, IT through both general and professional staffing models. Professional staff, general staff, blue collar, white collar, all these people for foreign countries only, overseas staffing. In terms of revenue, 11,422 million rupees, more than professional, less than general. Of course, general is the main thing in terms of revenue. 6.1% operating margin. See, this is also a profit driver for them. And 5,600 headcount, pretty nice, across Asia and Middle East. And some of the things, they're deepening their footprint in existing geographies like UAE, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. Also, Singapore is very important market for them in overseas. And recently they have been having some visa issues, but they've also tried to fix it. But the visa issue is still going on. So the Singapore market is struggling. Basically, Singapore market is struggling, and they're developing localized models. Okay, and they're building capabilities in visa processing, payroll, mobilization, positioning Quest Corp as an end-to-end international workforce partner. Important, end-to-end, meaning starting to the ending, the whole process, workforce. Any point in there, any problem, Quest Corp will be there to solve your problems. Not just at the start, not just at the end, but the entire process. Moving on, we have last thing, digital platforms. Okay, sorry, digital platforms. New thing for them, of course, digital, they have to move. So digital platforms verticals acts as a technology nucleus for Quest Corp. All right, we don't need to read all this. Main thing, Hamara HR human resources, Hamara jobs, Taskmo. Taskmo is their website for gig workers. And this is modern stuff. This is basically modern stuff. 50 million rupees, barely anything. 500,000, 5 lakh users, Hamara Char. Hamara Jobs, 6.9 million users. Gig workers, gig economy. So customer is there for that. You can read here what it actually does. Mobile first HRMS, which is human resource management system. 250,000 daily active users, 2.5 lakh per day. Very good. Enabling associates to access payslips, raise queries, track attendance, workforce solutions. Hamara Jobs, one of the largest platforms for blue and gray collar job seekers in the local languages. So basically, workforce solutions, staffing solutions, online, online business, you can say. Very good. The world has evolved and online is the way. And Tasmo is the leading tech-enabled gig discovery platform with 75,000 gig workers. So the gig economy, Tasmo, Hamara HR, Hamara Jobs is basically, from what I believe, staffing solutions, workforce solutions, but online to their own digital platform. So we covered all of this. These were the four segments of the business with their operating EBITDA also given and their margins also explained and what they do in a general way. Moving on, we have fewer things. Okay, this is from the investor presentations. Uh, and this explains stuff a bit easier. This is for quarter one fiscal year 2026. So first of all, we have general staffing. Now, this dark blue thing is their headcount contribution, so total number of workers. This slightly lighter blue pink, slightly lighter blue, this revenue contribution, how much they contribute to revenue, like total percentage of revenue, and operating EBITDA. How much does each business segment contribute to operating EBITDA? Okay, so first we have general staffing, 97% of workforce, 85% of revenue, 3,000 crores, only 53% of EBITDA. Again, large revenue, low margin business. Professional staffing, 1.4% of total headcount, 7% of total revenue, 29% of operating EBITDA. This is the profitability driving the profits. Digital platforms, they contribute nothing apparently, negligible contribution. And we have overseas business contributing to 1.2% of workforce, 8% of revenue, and 21% profits. So clear line is shown here. Overseas business and professional staffing are the profit drivers, and driving majority of the revenue is general staffing. Mm. Fiscal year 2026, the first quarter highlights. Here are some of the highlights. So largest domestic staffing player, a total headcount of 4,62,000 people. Last numbers we saw were for fiscal year 2025. So excluding this quarter. So the latest quarter numbers, largest in India. And recognized as the number one staffing company in India by the staffing industry analysts. Revenue growth of only 2% this quarter, year on year, but EBITDA grew by 10%. Very nice. And launched GCC as a service origin, a global capability centers. Again, a very important thing for Corp. Moving on, we have few more things. Yes, so first we will see this market opportunity for Quest Corp. Now, the Indian staffing and recruitment services market, which is their market, is expected to grow by a rate of 13% from 2022 to 2030. This is projected. Of course, projections don't always work. But looking at this, the general sentiment seems to be a very fast growing market. 13% is amazing growth. Now, flexi workforce. Flexi workforce is flexible workforce, and as the name suggests, it is the workforce. It refers to those employees who have flexible working conditions, like flexible working hours, working at what time, for what period of time, not with one company for 6, 7 years, maybe a few months, working for one season. So, flexible working conditions, employees who have these flexible working conditions are known as flexible workforce. They have, they're like 1.8 million. Quest's market share in this is 23%. Big, almost one fourth of the entire workforce is under Quest. So you can say they have a very recognizable brand because they are so large, they're the largest. So for new potential clients, businesses looking, Quest Corp will be like the big choice. Now, what are the growth drivers? Now, agriculture is shrinking. So agriculture workforce is shrinking. More people are moving to non-workforce things like non-agriculture things like industries, banking, consumer retail and telecom sector, especially the retail sector. So more people moving from farm to non-farm, more employees for Quest. Unorganized to organized sector. Quest Corp is obviously, I believe, organized, comes under organized. So more people are moving to organized. Formalization of workforce is happening. More formal workers, workers under a paid contract, getting benefits and all that. So more workers are coming under formalization, and people are moving towards, sorry, flexi staffing. Flexi staffing, again, flexible staffing. Here you can see jobs, permanent jobs, permanent jobs growing at 10% CAGR, flexible jobs growing at 14% CAGR. Moving on, we have few more things. Okay, yes, okay, this is the overall associates, the latest numbers. Majority again, 4.5 lakh. Yes, 4,59,000 people in general staffing, 6,000 overseas and professional. Pan India again, a lot of offices, 700 recruiters, 1,700 clients. We already saw these statistics, and monthly onboarding, 45,000 cross ads. I actually don't know what this means. I think that's it. Moving on, we have last thing, differentiators. Now, I don't think I can help anyone here though in differentiators. But again, GCC focus is the main thing. I think we can focus. Strategic thrust on global capability centers. One has been launched and two pre-launch stage, and there's a dedicated team for GCC services and tailored offerings for GCCs. Again, GCCs, as I'm repeating as a broken record, is the main drive, is a lot of their focus is on here. Now, we saw all of this, and I don't think there should be anything else. But if you want, we can take a small look in their balance sheet. All right, the consolidated balance sheet. Here, I think we will only show one thing, that is the current assets and current liabilities. Here we have total current assets. These are all in millions, by the way. So 18,961.95 million rupees current assets. Sorry, 18,000. Yeah. Current assets are assets which can be converted into cash within 1 year. It represents liquidity of a company. And then we have current liabilities, which are payments that the company has to make in 1 year, things it owes to other, like borrowings, which it has to pay back in 1 year. Within 1 year, current liabilities are 14,105.78 million. So current assets are more than current liabilities. That is the current ratio. And if it's more than one, that's good. If it's less than one, it depends on the industry. Some industries just naturally have more total current liabilities than current assets. But larger this ratio, current assets numerator, current liabilities denominator, the better it is. It to an extent shows a company's ability to meet its very, let's say, near interest payments, near liabilities. And I think that's it. Now, I could show the revenue, and I could show the profits for long term, but unfortunately, they won't work for this company. Now, the reason is that they recently had a demerger. Okay, so Quest Corp used to include like far more companies. I mean, it was still named Quest Corp, but it used to include far more segments, right? So the earlier growth we saw, 2% year-on-year revenue growth, 10% EBITDA growth, that was all right. That was just workforce solutions. But earlier they used to have other things. Now you can see here, Quest Corp demerged into three independently listed entities. We have Quest Corp, the one we just discussed and covered, the workforce management company. Digitide Solutions is an AI-driven digital transformation company and business process management. Digitide Solutions covers AI-driven digital transformation and business process management. And Blue Spring Enterprise, which is infra services company. So all their financials from like 2014 to 2024, these include all these three segments. That is why I can't show a direct to direct comparison because it would not be correct. So overall, what did we see from this company? What exactly did we see? Um, a lot of dependence on general staffing. It does have a big market share in India, so quite a dominant position in India. Is it a fast grower? Historically, yes. Recent quarters, no. Recent quarters, no. They had some problems. And what else? Big focus on overseas. Big focus right now is on profitability. And what else can we say? I think that's a very, very healthy balance sheet. I want to say one more thing, but I forgot. It's a very healthy balance sheet. So obviously, they won't have a lot of debt. And yes, I forgot to say, they have zero debt or close to zero long-term debt as of now. As of June 2025, they have close to zero rupees of long-term or major debt, you can say. So almost it's an almost debt-free company. So interest will just become lower and not be that much of an issue. And that's it. Hope you have a nice day. Bye.